How do you do? It's me, Stefan Burchard, the Desert Bowtie Realtor, with your latest episode of Networking Nuggets. Networking Nuggets is an exploration of business building through networking, social connections, and social media. Today, I have a very dear friend, I can say, as well as a colleague, Susan Goodsell with BNI Riverside-San Bernardino. She's the executive director, so she's the grand poobah for our county area. Susan, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, thank you so much, Stefan. I'm really excited to be here. Yeah, Susan Goodsell. Goodsell is my real live name. I've been a networking expert for almost 20 years now. This is my 20th year.
Wow.
Fell into it by accident, so maybe we'll talk a little bit about that as well. But I'm just delighted. What we're doing right now is networking. So
Yeah.
thanks for having me here.
Excellent. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Actually, since you brought it up, why don't you tell us how you got into networking and got into BNI?
By accident. It was really by accident. I was actually a travel agent for almost 30 years, and 20 years ago was invited to BNI, Business Network International. We're a business referral organization. Fell in love with everything about it. It was the first time in my life. Travel is very competitive, right? So the only way I can do better is to stomp on other people below me. It was the first business environment I had ever walked into where people wanted to help me. It changed my business, changed my finances, ultimately changed my life and changed my career as well. So that's the power of networking right there. It's amazing.
That is.
Yeah, yeah.
How did you become the executive director for our region? How did that evolve?
I started working for BNI's international headquarters 19 years ago. We're franchised, 75 countries around the world. So I was able to purchase the franchise 13 years ago on April Fool's Day.
Oh my God.
Yep, there's my anniversary. So 13 years ago, became the executive director and the owner.
And has it been a love affair ever since?
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
Great.
I stayed in the travel industry because it was a very positive atmosphere to be in, and BNI is exactly the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. Thank you for that introduction. That's awesome. Awesome. So those of you that have been here before, you know that we have 6 simple questions, and it's just a conversational style. So Susan, want to talk about venues or avenues for networking? Is there anything uncommon that, people don't think about? This is to spur people who don't network to where can they network?
And that's the place to start. What I'm going to say is we've got to redefine the word network, period. When you think of traditionally, when people think of networking, you're talking about chambers, you're talking about business expos, you're talking about professional organizations, or even networking groups. There's a little bit of a disconnect in that people go to networking events with an intention of selling, but people don't attend networking events for the purpose of buying. So you're walking into networking with this entire disconnect to start with. So for the rest of this brief time with you today, Stefan, I'm going to say, if we take out the selling portion, networking is simply the definition, interacting with others, right?
Yep.
If you go into networking with how can I connect with people, how can I help people, now what does the venue become?
Exactly.
Everything, everywhere. I mean, you can network at the grocery store, you could network at a business function, you could network at a funeral, honor the event, right? So I'm not talking about handing out flyers and business cards.
Of course not.
The point is, if you walk into it with an intention of helping people and connecting people, the world, everything is a networking venue.
It's absolutely true. I like that. I always tell people, you can network at your church, if
Exactly.
you're respectful about it. It's just any place where you gather, where there's 2 or more people, and we're kind of socializing. For me, networking is about building relationships. The business comes over time. And those of you that don't know, I actually learned that from BNI. And that's one of the things I loved about BNI was that it was so simple and it was all about relationships. And
Right.
the business does come over time, but you have to invest the time into the relationships. And so many people go, oh, well, I don't network anywhere. It's like baloney. Do you go to church? Do you go to the gym? Do you go to the same restaurant week after week after week? Do you go to a softball game? Do you go to choir? I mean, there's so many different places people don't realize that they are networking now.
100%. I love that attitude. That's it exactly.
Coming to materials of preparation, can you think of anything?
Thinking of preparing, I don't think it's the physical side of it. I mean, there's the obvious, right? You need to look professional. You need to, have your business cards. I think it's about preparing your message, making sure, okay, let me ask you this. How many times in life, earlier, go back 20 years, when someone asked what you do or how they could help you, did you actually have an effective answer for it? Right?
Before BNI, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. So have a message prepared on how to answer, how can I help you? There are ways that people can help you. Be prepared with a message of asking other people how you can help them, what they're looking for.
Yeah.
I think a part of preparation is just holding yourself back and knowing that you have to be more interested than interesting when you go out in public as well. Just don't be that guy, who wants to go out there and shake hands and make a deal and take my flyer and here's my card and we should do lunch.
Yeah.
Just take a step back, prepare yourself, and go into it with a spirit of, I'm going to connect people to other people. I'm going to connect with people. I'm going to help people.
That's the spirit of BNI.
There you go.
Do you have anything that inspires you or that you do for education, like, CEUs, but for networking?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Well, firstly, one of the core values of BNI and one of my personal core values, even before BNI, is truly lifelong learning, right? Learners are earners. The education is available. You've got to get out there and do it, and then put things into action. As far as inspiration to me, there's one thought that's in my head. Even if it's a BNI chapter meeting, I do 4 or 5 a week.
Wow.
If I'm walking into a chapter meeting, if I'm walking into another networking event, I walk in with the spirit of there's somebody in this room that I can positively affect. And that's a really nice, positive highway to walk into anything. So my inspiration is, I don't know who it is in this room, but there's somebody that I can positively affect today. There's somebody that I can help. Really basic.
So then the event becomes about finding that person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. That makes it kind of fun.
Open yourself to the possibilities that you can help people. And guess what they're doing? They're going to be able to help you too.
Yeah. That's when I go to networking, especially chamber networking events or some large event where there's a lot of people I don't know, I always make a point of 2 people. At
There you
least
go.
getting an introduction, introducing myself to 2 people and hopefully having a long enough conversation where I want to ask them for their business card. But I don't walk up handing out business cards because I think that's garbage. That's not the way to network. The way to network to me is about connecting. Once you have that connection, and like you said, you feel like there's something you can both exchange at a later date, then let's get each other's contact and follow up with a lunch.
100%. Exactly.
Cool. Do you have any funny mistakes or any mistakes that had a funny resolution or
when I started out networking, right? This is before BNI when I was a travel agent, and I did want to build my business, especially since for most of my career as a travel agent, I worked on commission. I wanted it that way. Then I could travel, I could be with my daughter, I could set my schedule. My first networking was actually the Pasadena Chamber of Commerce. And I'm not going to say that it's still this way, but think back, 30 years ago, 25 years ago, it was very much an old boys network. So I'm a 20-something-year-old, younger woman. And the entire thing in networking at that time in that chamber seemed to be where the drinks are, right? I got 0 referrals out of that group. So what did I do? I had the spirit that I'm going to collect 10 business cards. That's it. Once I have my 10, it was painful for me. Then I'll go home. So I took that stack of business cards. I've got some on my desk here. So what do? You take a stack of business cards and you put them right there next to your computer because you're going to call them. And then a week later, they go to that top drawer in the desk. And then a few weeks later, they're in the bottom drawer, and eventually you throw them in the trash bin. The most important lesson I have ever learned is that without a relationship behind it, a business card is just a piece of paper. It's about the relationship behind it. And that's kind of when I started changing what I was looking for. And that's what led me to BNI. It's like, there's got to be a better way, because otherwise I'm just collecting business cards, getting out of there, and then almost spamming people.
Yeah, I know how that feels. I get that every now and then with HomeSmart, because I do the recruiting for HomeSmart out here in the desert. So I'll ask agents for referrals to other agents that might be looking to make a change, and I'll get a name and a number. And now I've learned to ask, are they expecting my call?
Well, and there's another little piece of that too, as far as learning a lesson that I think was a really, really great analogy. I don't know who said this originally. I learned it from BNI's founder, Dr. Ivan Meisner, but it was the whole concept that if you want to succeed in networking, you have to take off the bib and put on an apron.
Oh, wow.
So rather than going to events expecting to be spoon-fed, which honestly is where most of us start. I mean, it really is. What am I going to get out of it? You wear a bib when you want people to feed you. You put on an apron when you want to serve others.
Wow, I love it.
It is so much more comfortable going into any networking event or situation where you're there to serve other people.
I love it. Thank
Great
you.
way to be in business, and it's a great way to be in life, you know?
I love it, love it, love it.
Yeah, I really like that.
Did you ever learn anything in your career with networking that surprised you? Something that was like, oh, I never thought about it that way, or?
This is almost embarrassing because it should have been obvious. Apparently networking is not just about business. Can you imagine that? I think I first started networking, even through BNI, I first started with the purpose that this was about business. You actually said it, Stefan. You said it's about the relationships.
Yeah. When
you carefully choose your network, it affects you personally, professionally, financially. And when you look at a situation right now with COVID-19, every single day, there are success stories, positive stories about members helping other members.
Yeah.
And that's just, I didn't ever think of that. So many of us go into networking with the thought of building our businesses. It's really enhancing your life. And right now it's amazing. We do have members in BNI whose businesses are shut down.
Yeah.
But they've got this network of people around them, everything from groceries to coaching to doing webinars together, just supporting one another. And when I see members who are literally dropping off groceries for other people, number one, that's life-changing. And number two, that's not just a network, it's family. That seems so corny to say that, but
I don't think so.
You know, so I think that's the biggest surprise to me, is when you have a real solid group of people around you. It's not just business.
No, we want to help each other.
Yeah, 100%.
Do you have anything to add that we haven't covered here today?
One thing I wanted, I guess, to point, there are networking skills, right? There are things that you can do to be more effective, to be more time efficient, to leverage your time. Skills can be taught, right? Everyone can learn skills. Get a book, listen to a podcast, take a class. Just like in real estate, correct me if I'm wrong, Stefan, it's still, real estate is about location, 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 right? Networking is about personality, personality, personality. So you need to develop yourself to be the best you that you can be. You need a tribe of like-minded people around you. Right now, I am so much more careful of the people in my inner circle. And inner circle doesn't mean there's 3 people. I mean, we've got 580 members locally. They're all my inner circle. Be careful of the energy you allow around you. Be respectful of the people that you bring in to that tribe of yours. And it's just amazing exponentially what'll come from there. Stop focusing on networking per se and focus on building a trusted network, because it's not just about business. I can hand you a referral for a house today. You're not exactly going to retire on that.
No.
My best value to you is connecting you with other like-minded professionals who need your services, who need your product, where you share clients together. So if you build that, if I help you build that trusted network around you, you're going to have a pipeline of referrals for years and years and years to come. So in BNI, we say it's about farming and not hunting. That's a very, very true statement. So that's what I'd say. Focus not just on your networking actions, but on the who's surrounding you.
Perfect.
Anything you'd like to add about the people around you?
For me, it's about the relationships.
Right.
When the people that are around me, and not just in BNI, because there's other groups that I network in, for me, it's like, look, if you're expecting my business just because you're in the room, forget it. Right. We need to build a level of trust and camaraderie. I need to know that I can trust. What I tell people, I said, the litmus test is, can I trust you with my mother?
There you go.
If I trust you enough that I would refer my mother to you, then you're as good as gold. And that's what I tell people. Say, have me trust you enough that I'll refer my mom to you. People get that instantly. They go, wow. So
good.
That's what I
That's
say.
awesome.
Cool.
And may I just say, I love that you're doing these networking nuggets, because it's a good opportunity right now with isolation to learn, to connect, to reach out. And if I can help anybody in any way, feel free to reach out to me as well.
I might be tapping you on the shoulder to ask you for some other people to interview, because it doesn't have to be people in my sphere out here. So
Sure. Nice.
Anyway, thank you so much for your time today, Susan. I look forward to this being on YouTube and on social media and on my podcast. You will be one of my featured podcasters. So thank you.
Thank you, Steph, and thanks for everything you do.